Hi, my name is Mario and welcome to Plaza BI. If you haven't watched my previous video, you can find it here. And in today's video, I'm gonna go through a very common challenge that you might face in your day-to-day job. Let's say that somebody has shared with you a file with all the employee performance of your company, but the data is not in the right format, so you're gonna have to tweak it before analyze it. And now I'm gonna jump to my laptop so you can understand better the issue. As I was explaining before, somebody has shared with me some employee details here, like employee ID, name, last name, and so on. And I see the sales amount and deals quantity per month throughout the year. So this is not in the right format for me because I should have basically a table, and this contains some cells that are merged, the sales and deals are repeated across all the months, where I should just get one single column for the date of the month, and then one sales, one for deals for every single employee. In order to achieve that, let's jump to Power BI and I'm gonna start doing the transformations. As all my previous videos, I'm gonna import from Excel. I'm gonna navigate to the rep performance file. That, by the way, if you want to follow along, make sure to check the description because I always put the resources for my files. The preview show me three different type of informations. I'm just gonna keep the pivot format that comes from the spreadsheet. I'm gonna ignore the other two. And then here I can see the preview of my data. I'm gonna hit on transform data. And as I will do, I will change the first loading as a raw data. And I'm gonna disable the load. And everything that I do will be a reference from this table. I want to extract just the employee details in a separate table. I'm gonna keep sales and deals in a different one. So I'm just gonna call this employee table. And I can see the employee information is from column 1 to 5. So I'm just gonna keep those 5 columns. If I go to home and then choose columns here, select column 1 to 5 and hit OK. And then I can just remove the first row and promote the headers, but in this case I want to skip every single value within the column that it doesn't match my criteria, and my criteria will be employee ID. So I'm gonna reuse the same step, going for the very beginning of the text and just say table skip, and then I'm gonna wrap my step on that. Basically I'm injecting a table on that function, and then the condition that I want to apply is go through every single value within the column. So that's why I'm using the iterator each. Now within which column I want to iterate, I'm just gonna call column 1, and I want to skip every single value that is distinct than employee ID. So it's gonna promote this one, and that will become the new header. So transform, use first row as headers. And now this looks fine to me. I'm just gonna select all the columns over here, Control A, and change the type to text. Perfect. So that will be my employee table. I just see that typo there, so just gonna change that. I will reference against the raw data, and I will just call this performance table. And I will keep just the employee ID and the sales and deals for every single month. Basically exclude column 2, 3, and 4, and 5. I can see that the deals header is empty. So if I promote this now, there will not be any date above the deals, and that's a problem. So what I have to do is I need to fill that gap. To achieve that, I have to transpose. So I'm just gonna go to transform here, and then transpose. Select the first column, right click on that, fill and down. And I see now that the actual date has been copied over all the different columns, and that's all right. The first one is okay because I will end up removing that row, so we can ignore that for the moment. Now we have to work on this in two different phases. The first one will be the sales amounts, and the second one will be the deal quantity. So I will force Power BI to actually select the sales information and ignore the others. So I will explicit say here filter deals because I want to keep just the sales. Power BI now is forcing a distinct than deals, but I want to actually say what I want to keep instead of saying what I don't want to keep. So I will change this slightly. Instead of saying distinct than deals, I will say equal to sales, or I can type or over there, and then I will say column 2 again. equal to employee ID. So nothing has changed in reality. It's the same output, but we're actually saying Power BI what we want to keep, and that's important. Because what we want to do is move all this transformation that we are applying into a function. So I can modify this parameter over here and just have it as a part of an argument that I can modify. Like if I want to apply this transformation to sales, I can reduce this. Or if I want to do that with sales, I can do that as well. Right, so once we have this, I need to transpose again back. Now I don't really need that second row over here. So I'm just gonna filter out employee ID. And then I can promote the headers and change the first column to ID, for example. I have every single sales amount per month by employee. This is not quite the output I need. I need just one for ID, one for the date, and one for the amounts. So in order to get that, we can unpivot the other columns. So if I select ID and say unpivot and then unpivot other columns, now I get ID, attribute, and value. Attribute, I can just change that to a date. And value will be a sales amount. And this looks better to me. So I'm just going to change the types at the end. This will be text. This one will be date. And that one will be a decimal value. Perfect. So now that's my sales table. I don't want to repeat all these steps. So what I want to do is create a function that I can apply over my main table. And I don't have to create more steps over here. So in order to get that, I will go to Home, Advanced Editor, and copy all the query steps from transpose table to the last one. So Control C here, hit on done, and I'm gonna create a blank new query. So right click on the empty space, blank query, go to Advanced Editor and replace everything here. If we want to create a function, we have to create this statement. Basically, whatever we put in the between the brackets, it will be injected as a parameter into the query steps that we have underneath. So I want to pass a parameter that will be the table that I want to use as a source, and then another one will be called call name that will be my sales or deals depending on which table I want to create. So I will now replace table here. That will be the table that I want to transpose. And then call name, I need to replace every single instance where it say sales by call name. And then here is saying sales amount. I'm just going to remove that. And I'm going to concatenate the call name with the amount. So if I enter sales as part of the arguments, it will say sales name. It will say sales amount. And if I enter deals, it will say deals amount. This one is also a variable I need to change. So I just concatenate that over there. And that should be ready to go to test. I will change this to FX performance, for example. You can call it whatever you want. And you can see that it's asking me for two parameters. The first one is the table, and the second one is just the table. Then the second one is the column name that I want to use as a filter. So if I go again to performance table, I can remove all the steps from the transpose to the very end. And now I can apply this function to this actual table. So I'm gonna create a brand new steps and then apply transformation. So I just type fx, then I have to complete that. And then I'm passing the table. That's basically the steps, the previous step into the function. And then which table I want to create first, I would say sales, for example. And if I close the bracket there, voila, I have my sales table. So I'm just gonna rename this step, call it sales. And I want to apply the same, but for the deals. And instead calling sales, that is the previous step, I want to go back again to remove all the columns. So I'm gonna do hashtag remove all the columns. And now it's pointing again to that step. And I will do again the same function, fx performance over the table, the actual step. And I want to call now deals. Voila, those are my deals. So everything is looking good. And now I have to merge sales and deals. So I have one single table with ID, date, sales amount, and deals amount. We can achieve that by merging the one table against the other. So I'm just gonna hit on merge, and I want to select the current table again. So I want to merge the same table against itself for the moment. And I have to do that with two different conditions. I need to do that for ID and date. So hitting on Control key, select ID and then date. And the same for the performance table down below. Left join is okay for the moment, so I'm just gonna hit that. And then if I check here, the merge table has been linked into this column, so it's exactly the same value. So this is the same that you see down below, and I don't want that. I want to bring in the sales amount, so I want to just change here slightly. Actually, I forgot one thing. I will rename this to deals, and if I go back, I see that it's deals against deals, and I want just change the last one to sales. I will call this, for example, details. And there you go. So if I hit now, I can bring in the sales amount. So I need to expand the sales amounts. We're just gonna ignore everything except the sales amounts. Hit on that. Voila, that's my end table. Just for the purpose of a simple report that I want to create, I want to add a calendar table that if you don't know how to get that, you can watch my previous video. And I constantly do this. I copy and paste the query from a previous report into this one, because otherwise just because it saves a lot of time. So I just gonna go back to one of the reports I have. So I just copy the query from another report I have, and I'm just gonna replace the advanced editor here with the query that I use for the calendar table. I will call this calendar table. And that's all that I need for this model. I'm just gonna hit on close and apply. Now this is the model view that I have. So I have a calendar table, the employee dimension, and then my performance table. I will link date from the calendar table with the performance date. That's right. And then employee ID with the ID over here. And I will create a couple of measures so I can use on my report. So within the performance table, I can do right click, new measure. We call this total sales amount. I will do a calculate with sum sales amount from the performance table. So hit on that. A new measure again for the deals, total deals. Calculate sum of deals amount. And lastly, what I will do is just gonna hide whatever I don't want users to use us on the report. I'm just gonna hide those two, and I can go back now to a report. Actually, I forgot one thing, so I'm gonna change the calendar. So I'm gonna fix the sorting of the calendar. So if I hit on the month name, I will sort that by month. And that should be fine. And then add a visual. I will add a matrix. That's basically a pivot. And I will add the employee ID. I will get the employee ID from the employee table. And I will add the year and the month from the calendar. Right. You can see that you cannot see the month over here, and it's just because I need to expand one more level. And there we go. I have the months. Just gonna drop now the measures that we just created. So total number of sales and deals. And if I show you this against the Excel file, you see now I have the same values for the employee. 101, I have 15,000 there, 12 deals, and the same parameters for all the different months. So that's all for today. I hope you find it useful. I constantly do this kind of exercise because it's good to practice how I can transform the data, clean the format so I have it ready to analyze. And you just need to follow always the same steps, like trying to achieve a table format that you can reuse. And then from there, just extract the different dimensions that you might require. Hope you like it. If that's the case, please leave a comment, give a like, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.